to The Bottom Line, where we examine trending and important news. Over 1,700 Guyanese in Region 5 have found employment through government's part-time job initiative, which was launched in June by Vice President Dr. Jagdeo. The program was initially aimed at employing 1,000 persons in the region, but was expanded to cater to an additional 1,000 due to the overwhelming number of applications. It is also part of government's effort to subsidize household income in the face of rising cost of living and fulfills the administration's manifesto promise to create employment for Guyanese. Persons have been employed at various government agencies such as health centers, schools, and hospitals, among others. I spoke with several part-time employees in Region 5 and 6. This is what they had to say.
I'm one of the persons that is benefiting from that very much. And I know a lot of persons more will be benefited from it. It will give us experience in the work field, and by being the cost of living is so high, and it will help us out with our personal things we have to do at the end of the month.
Well, I wasn't working at the time, so now I've gotten through with employment. It has been good, assisting with the bills. I have met a lot of people, interact with a lot of different people out there. So the experience is great.
I also had a quick talk with Regional Executive Officer of Region 5, Genevieve Blackman.
We're blessed and we feel privileged to be one of the regions that is part of this initiative. So we have, as you know, this is a farming region, so there are not many opportunities for jobs in regions such as this. So a lot of persons responded to the Vice President's initiative and they have started their job. They're extremely happy that they're working even if it's on a part-time basis.
Beneficiaries have also been encouraged to apply for the Guyana Online Academy of Learning scholarships to upgrade their qualifications and skills level. Several ministers of government, led by Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, met with residents of Buxton Region 4 to listen and address issues pertaining to their community's development.
Today is the day to discuss development for Buxton. That's right. And if we talk in development, we have to do away with the detractors of development. I have listened last night, almost all night, to the detractors who wanted to derail this session today. And your turnout is sending a strong message to the detractors who never wanted this to happen.
This is what residents said about their government coming to them.
I'm very happy, and people could be able to hear the views and say what I have to say concerning it, and I'm very happy about it. And I wish, soon as possible, that could happen for BV too. Thank you very much.
I think this is great, yes, because they're paying attention to the public, and it shows that despite, the controversy that we have, that is going on with Mr. Bacchus and his family, they're still paying attention to each and every person needs, and they're trying, to reach out to persons.
Now, Chanel, you're here at the outreach. Share your thoughts on what you heard so far.
A lot of things was mentioned, and I have faith. I gotta choose my words wisely. I have faith and I do trust my government. It doesn't matter which party I represent. I'm a firm believer once somebody's in power, he's the president. Come governing the country, respect his due. I have trust. I've developed trust. The young minister, what's his name? The sports.
Charles Ramson.
Charles Ramson. He's given me a different side of the coin for the government, and he win me. Honestly speaking, I have, like I said before in the beginning, I have faith and I have trust in my government. So moving forward, I'm with my government.
Orin, tell me a bit about what you heard here today on this ministerial.
Well, let me tell you the honest truth. After for long years, you never get a meeting like this yet with so much of people turn out. And I feel great that the people turn out, that the Buxton people that could aid the Buxton people here, they apply to were affecting them, and right? And I feel great. I myself have been trying to meet the Minister of Sports because I used to promote sports in Buxton. And just because of the disturbance with the fighting up, I decided to come off.
Right.
But I was still glad to put back myself in the line of sports because I used to get a great turnout with children coming to do sports.
So, but you spoke about Minister Ramson. He's been doing some work on this ground here, putting in lights and things like that. You said you deal with sports. How do you see this ground being properly equipped with lights and the facilities when it's done benefiting the community?
So far, he's done a great work. I can't compliment him for that, right? He's done so much. He's done so much even than the previous government. Because when was the previous government? When they come about one or twice, and you ask them to do certain things, all they give was promise. You understand? This is all they give you promise, and this government. Anybody said that this government is doing what they're supposed to do, they're lying.
Well, it's a very good gesture by the government, and I would have loved to see many more persons coming out here to seize the opportunity to raise their concerns, because there are real concerns out there, real issues with people out there, right? And another thing too, I would like to see this sort of gathering or meeting in other villages on the East Coast. It's very important to be on the ground, to know exactly what's happening with persons in the various communities, right? Like I think it was the Prime Minister would have said, instead of depending on the social media to see what's happening, you come on the ground and you get face to face with persons. However, I'm expecting this kind of meeting in the village of Ansborough.
The request for upgrade to the Buxton Community Centre ground by residents was fulfilled almost immediately with a donation of sport and other equipment. The move by the PPPC administration was welcomed by residents who spoke of the need and importance of such an initiative.
This is a great initiative taken by Mr. Ramson. You know, things like this would warm the hearts of our people when they're seeing you're not only saying, but you're doing on spot. And this going to travel a far way across our spectrum of Guyana to see the work that the minister is doing. And I applaud him for this great effort.
There's no active basketball this side of the coast. The only basketball team on the East Coast is Pleasance Guardians. So having the court here upgraded would see boosting the youths and probably establishment of a basketball team this side.
The PPPC administration has been exploring the utilization of very small aperture terminals to facilitate online learning in remote communities across the country, with the aim of making educational opportunities accessible to all children. While in Kaikan Region 7, His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali announced that this is aimed at delivering equitable education in far-flung areas. VSATs are small software-driven earth stations used to relay transmissions of data, video, or voice via satellite. The initiative will complement the Ministry of Education's quest to improve the delivery of education and the learning experience of children in hinterland areas through the Guyana Learning Channel. The expanded project has seen television sets being mounted in identified schools in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9. Each school is outfitted with a solar panel system, complete with batteries and a satellite dish to ensure the channel can be accessed. The intention is to ensure that all students can benefit from a channel that is dedicated to airing timetabled education content that is aligned with the local curriculum for every grade. This will improve the level of blended learning that takes place within the schools, whereby teachers can employ more audio-visual approaches to teaching. The South American nation of Peru is among several countries utilizing VSATs to connect thousands of Peruvian school children in an effort to reduce educational disparities in the country. The PPPC government has made a significant leap towards transforming Guyana into a first-choice healthcare destination, following the signing of an agreement with the Mount Sinai Health System and HES Corporation. The document, which will accelerate the National Healthcare Initiative, was signed at State House. Hess Corporation is investing some US $32 million into a long-term medical master plan, which will ensure all Guyanese receive the best possible health care while boosting Guyana's potential due to the remarkable investments made in all sectors by the PPPC administration.
But the system cannot be overhauled if the regulations are not in place. So we are also working on all the regulations to support healthcare. Looking at a new approach, looking at new issues. The AG is already working with the Ministry of Health. We have already laid some of those legislation in modernizing the health infrastructure to meet this end goal of being a world-class international player.
It was underscored that the National Healthcare Initiative requires ardent partnerships not only between Mount Sinai Health System and Hess Corporation, but support from the private sector and, most importantly, the Guyanese people is needed. A coordinating steering committee which includes representatives of the government, the Mount Sinai Health System, Hess Corporation, and the private sector will be established as plans advance. Mount Sinai is an integrated health system providing exponential medical care to local and global communities. 300 young people in Region 6 have commenced various training and programs offered by the Board of Industrial Training. Each participant will benefit from technical job opportunities which will be made available in the oil and gas industry.
We have about 6-7 programs that are important for us to train people in large numbers in Region 5 and 6. And so many of the programs are the programs that we have set out as regards the training that we have done. Importantly also, we have in some programs that normally you would see women will not be in them. You have now women are joining those programs in the different areas, and so that's a good thing.
The interest shown by the region thus far demonstrates citizens' desire to take advantage of training opportunities provided by government. The PPPC government will continue to ensure that citizens, regardless of location, have access to training and other educational opportunities. So far, BIT has trained over 4,000 persons in areas such as small engine repair, electrical installation, heavy-duty equipment operation, air conditioning and refrigeration repair, mechanics, welding and fabrication, among others. Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel Dharamlal instructed for an immediate audit of the operations of the BV Triumph Neighbourhood Democratic Council after allegations surfaced about attempts by the NDC to sell lands in the community. The call was made after residents presented documents highlighting several transactions by the NDC and private parties in this regard. The BV Triumph NDC chairman Jamal Bagat refuted the claims. He explained that in 2019, the council regained a document which stated that it owns 200 acres of land in sections F and G, Buxton. A proposal was sent by John Finance Limited in 2021 to purchase the land to facilitate the oil and gas and housing sectors. However, the council decided against this.
It looks like a lot of business is being done by this council, and the residents are unaware of what is happening. Likewise, too, I get the impression that the work of the council is not above board, and from the responses of the residents, we can basically see that.
Another troubling matter raised was the use of US $10,432,263 concessionary loan agreement with the CARICOM Development Fund in 2016. The grant was allocated to restore and upgrade drainage and irrigation canals, provide farming equipment, and install drainage pumps in communities such as Buxton, Buxton, Ithaca and Mocha Arcadia.
I will have to speak to my colleagues and to see how best we could have an investigation into how this money was spent. Because from what I've heard today from the farmers, the development work was never complete. They have no access to the farmlands and they are worse off.
The intention was never to sell anybody's land. That was not our intention. We were of the opinion that these lands belong to the council. We would have failed the villagers here. We would have failed the persons who would have voted for us by not doing enough to let persons know what is going on out here. We would have allowed it to reach to the point where persons came up with their own ideas and they ran with it.
President Ali witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between Guyana and Belize to advance cooperation in several areas. Prime Minister of Belize, John Bersiniro, was also present to see Guyana's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Hugh Todd, and Belize's Prime Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Immigration, Imon Cortine, signed the MOU. The agreement will allow for cooperation in several areas, including food security and trade.
The Ministers of Foreign Affairs will have to come up with us with targets that they will establish. How we can ensure that we develop the infrastructure to have all the hatching eggs in the region produced between the two countries. How we can expand our capacity for grains. How are we going to collaborate on climate change going into Glasgow? Because we have similar circumstances. We are already talking about how we can exchange ideas on education and healthcare. Because if we're going to build first-class infrastructure in Guyana, then that infrastructure must be for the service of the region.
Eid al-Adha is a major Islamic festival that commemorates the story of Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son Ishmael when Allah commanded him to. When Abraham showed that he would obey, Allah provided a sheep for Abraham to sacrifice. Instead, let's listen to His Excellency President Ali's message to Guyana on this Eid al-Adha 2022.
This is an occasion in which we celebrate the soundness and strength of faith, in which we understand and appreciate the soundness of sacrifice. In our society today and in our world today, there are many challenges that requires strength of faith, strength of character, and importantly, sacrifice of things that we love, sacrifice of things that we consider dear to us, if we are to truly make a contribution to the development of humanity. But one of the important lessons is not only the sacrifice that we make, but the sacrifice in safeguarding faith, and the sacrifice of ensuring we are obedient, but it is what constitutes the sacrifice and what happens after the sacrifice, and the whole purpose of the sacrifice. And we are very lucky here in Islam. We are taught what should be the purpose of sacrifice. Because not only is the sacrifice made with the animal, but we are taught how that sacrifice and the product of the sacrifice must be distributed. And this is a very key lesson, because in the distribution, it apportions equal weight to every segment of the society. Whether you're a rich family, a rich neighborhood, or a poor community, an equal portion of 1/3 is assigned. And sometimes we miss this aspect of the message. That apportionment of the 1/3 equally distributed is a restatement of the way Islam view humanity and society. That is an equitable distribution, an equitable part in the sacrifice, an equitable part in demonstrating our faith and obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we must, in reflection of the sacrifice, understand the depth of the message also. It is not only the faith and the obedience and the sacrifice, but it goes beyond that to teach us and demonstrate to us what is the nature of the sacrifice itself and what are the hallmarks of the sacrifice for it to be acceptable. Because you can have sacrifice that is self-serving. You can have obedience that is self-serving, but it is the output and the full demonstration of what that sacrifice, what that obedience, and what that faith is that adds great value and that demonstrate the full nature of Islam, a religion that teaches the importance of service to all of humanity, a faith that straddles all segments of society, the weak, the oppressed, the strong, and gives weight on every segment of society in terms of your responsibility. The strong, what the strong should do to help the oppressed, how your voice should be used in uplifting the oppressed. We live in a country that celebrates aspects of religious freedom, a country in which we can practice our deen, we can practice every religion freely. This by itself is a gift. This by itself is something many countries cannot celebrate. And as Muslims, we have a greater responsibility to be conscious, not to be part of any activity, not to be part of anything that promotes hate, that promotes disunity, that promotes selfishness. And the leadership of the community must continuously educate the community that our lives should be lives that promote love, togetherness, unity, sacrifice. And in doing so, we will demonstrate the true quality of the Deen of Islam. I take this opportunity on behalf of my family and I, not only to wish the Muslims and the community of Lenora Eid Mubarak, but to wish all of Guyana Eid Mubarak. I'm very happy to do so from my own home community, Lenora. And I want to wish all Guyanese in the diaspora, all Muslims who are performing the Hajj, especially from Guyana and the CARICOM region, their families, and the wider community, because the wider community is included in the celebration of Eid, because in the apportionment of the shares, it speaks about your neighbors and friends. That is the depth of the message. And the message did not define who your neighbors and friends are. That is the beauty of Islam and the Deen that we serve. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. May He make it easy for us and accept our sacrifices and accept our fasts and our petition for forgiveness. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And that's the bottom line.